Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and do our intro to FOIL. We're just going to do basic FOIL with two binomials, and then we'll do one more with three. Alright, just for purposes of all of this, this is the one we'll start with. Pretty simple. And remember, your FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. First, outer, inner, last. Alright? And all this normally stands for is you're going to name your first term in each of your parentheses. Then you're going to name the outer terms of your parentheses, okay? So on the outsides. And then you're going to name your inner terms, which are on the insides. And then your last terms, which are the last term in each parentheses. Okay? All that's kind of fancy, and I don't really care to think about it like that. Personally, this is how I think about it, and you're more than welcome to adopt either way. FOIL's the way they have you teach it in a classroom and whatnot. But I just think of it as I have my first term in my left parentheses. This is the first thing that shows up anywhere. It's just that 2x here. Okay? And I just got to make sure I multiply it by everything over in this parentheses. So we'll just go one at a time. 2x times x, 2x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. And then we got to take our second thing, and we got to multiply by both of the things in parentheses. It really is just distribution. Okay? That's all it is. So 3 times x, and then 3 times 2. And you should end up here. From here, we just combine our like terms. So I look here, I have nothing else with x squared, so I can't add anything to it. But I do have two values with just x to the first power, 4 and 3, so I'm just going to add them together. Remember, we didn't do anything with 2x squared, so I just wrote it down. 4 plus 3 is that 7. Don't forget your x. And then your 6 gets brought down as well. Alright? And that concludes how to FOIL just two binomials. We're going to do kind of the same example. 2x plus 3, x plus 2, I don't know, x plus 1. And again, I'm keeping these pretty simple. Your numbers may be more complex, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it simple just for purposes of what we're doing. And I've already foiled out these first two. You can really pick any ones. I actually recommend the easier ones. But a lot of you guys, like as students, get thrown off by longer problems and that kind of thing. So it might actually be easier for you guys to start with the harder ones and leave the easy one for last. So that's what I recommend if you don't like long problems. It's not like this makes it any shorter, but it'll make it feel shorter. It'll make it feel a little easier at the end of it all. Okay? So you would FOIL your first two, just like normal. Ignore your third one. Pretend it's not even there. And we're just going to FOIL the first two, which we already did up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring down that answer. Okay? 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. And then don't forget, you haven't done anything with this, so we're just going to bring it down. Again, these I FOILed together just like I did up here. Because I've already done it once, I just brought down the answer. Normally you'd want to FOIL this out, but it all turns out the same way, and I didn't want to write the same thing twice. Okay? Now that we're here, what you've got is a trinomial multiplied by a binomial. All you have to do is, again, just like we distributed over here, take each of your values in the parentheses, and you're going to distribute to everything. To everything, okay? Just like that. And we'll start with the x. X times 2x squared gives you 2x cubed. X times 7x gives you 7x squared. And x times 6 just gives you that 6x. So all we did was add an x to everything. This was x squared, now it's x cubed. This was x, this is now x squared. This didn't have an x, now it does. That's all you do. And now this one's multiplied by 1, which is even easier. 1 times 2x squared is still 2x squared. 1 times 7x is still 7x. And 1 times 6 is still 6. Okay? And I know I went through this pretty quickly, but again, you can pause, rewind, go back, do whatever it is you need to do to get it for yourself. But all we have to do now is combine like terms. Do you see any other x cubes? There aren't any, so you can just go ahead and bring that down. Alright? And if it helps you when you've dealt with it and you've either brought it down or you've added it to something, you can go ahead and cross it out, just so you remember for your own work that you've done it. 7x squared, we look around, this is a regular x, so we can't add that, but we do have an x squared here. So 7x squared plus 2x squared gives you that 9x squared. So we're finished with our x squareds. We can go ahead and cross them out. Here's our 6x, and we're looking for anything else with an x attached to it. We've got the 7x over here. 6 plus 7 gives me that 13x. And then we've got our 6 is all that's left over, so we can go ahead and just bring it down. Alright, so that was a really quick FOIL lesson, and I know that I just kind of flew through it, but that's all FOIL is. Some of you guys may already know distributed property. I think of FOIL as distributed property. I don't really like thinking of first, outer, inner, last. I don't really care for the acronym, but this is how you teach it in a classroom. Alright, with the trinomial one, it's virtually the same thing, except at the end you're just going to have to distribute both values to a bigger thing. It really doesn't make a difference. Just make sure that your x, or your first value in this binomial, goes to all three of these, or all the values in your parentheses. Same thing with the 1. Okay? And that's a really quick lesson on FOIL. There may or may not be another one somewhere on this channel. I just don't remember, and I couldn't really find it while looking at it really quickly, so I went ahead and made this. But this is short. It should get you through everything you need. Just remember, it is distributed property. All right, guys. If you guys are struggling with combining like terms, so this step right here, and you're mixing up when to add, 7x squared to 2x squared instead of 7x squared to like 2x cubed, go ahead and go to my combining like terms video, which I will link in the description below. All right, guys. Have a good night.